So where did you guys first see Muay Thai for real?
Scott, you want to go first?
Yeah, I saw Chase Walden just jumped on. So I have to say the first time I laid eyes on Chase is the first time I saw real Thai.
Wow, you sucking up to Chase?
Yeah, he opened up a new school. So anyway, Grindstone, for all those folks out there who didn't see it. So there's your plug, Chase.
You're going down there, right?
I am going to go down there, and I'm going to go down, try to make it for his grand opening.
There you go. When's that, you know?
Next week, January 4th, I believe.
Get at it. Wow, Chase. You were just on the podcast, man, and you already got it going. Disciple all up in the house. Yeah, we are all up in the house. So, and not to forget Samui Fight House.
Samui Fight House. Now Bangkok Fight House.
Now Bangkok Fight. I'm sorry. You guys just don't stop, okay? I got 4 different shirts from 4 different places that Scott is trained out.
Well, I've got a affiliation down in Samui, but I'm going to be based out of Bangkok, actually just outside near Pattaya. And then
it's badass.
Up in the north where the big boss is, which I would call my Ajarn Pite, he's very much involved in everything in Muay Thai in the country of Thailand.
Really?
Stadiums and all that. And I fought for this gentleman many years ago in Lumpini. And at the time, he was more of an underboss, and you had Sia Ting. Sia Ting was one of the 7 or 12 promoters of Lumpini. Now these guys have adjusted a bit, and that is my A camp. So I've got an A camp, I've got the B camp, which is my base camp, and the C camp. Not to say that the fighters aren't good that are going to the C camp and the islands, but the islands are a starter. It's a place to start and get into fighting, and then you want to work your way to Bangkok.
Did that burn you up, Sean, when you'd see people back when you had Chalong Chai, people saying, "Oh, that's just for Farang and foreigners and tourists and things"? Whenever you saw comments like that, I don't know because I've never even been. But
the funny thing is, Phuket, and even then, because of what happened with Muay Thai at that time, that was a big shift, right?
What happened with Muay Thai?
Muay Thai was the national sport of Thailand. You had some people practicing outside the country, mostly in Europe, not in the States. Dutch, of course, but that's even another thing. You're looking at a 90-kilo man, 100-kilo man fighting and going back and claiming that he's beat all the best Thai people.
90? What is that for the?
Too big. It's
huge.
Anybody over 150 pounds.
Wow.
Okay, let's be really honest. 150 pounds and down would be your premier weight classes. Anybody above that, there's a few Thai guys that were very big, but the most competitive weight class in the country would be around 125 pounds.
That's it. Wow.
To 150 pounds.
That's what that's what it's turning into here in the States with mixed martial arts. You've seen all the best guys are smaller guys.
To say you've gone over and you beat all the best, and you come home and you open gyms on all those sort of, yeah, if you're a huge man, you took a system that was designed for very small people, for war, to protect their country. So you give that technique to a large, stronger guy. It's like jiu-jitsu. In the beginning, the little guy beats the big guy, doesn't matter. But all of a sudden, you give the big guy the technique, and they know the same thing. Now the weight does matter. Now the size does matter.
Yeah.
So with kickboxing, Dutch kick, whatever you want to call it, American kickboxing, it's Muay Thai is Muay Thai, right? It all originates. The 8 limbs, the elbows, the knees, no modifications, it's a full art form. So yeah, I don't know where we're at now with all this, but that's the first time that I seen real Muay Thai, or what I thought was classic Muay Thai. I had trained a bunch of styles. I was in the Marine Corps. I was invited to a open session, so to speak, behind an armory with a group of freaking tigers, and Lee Dewater and all these guys were knockdown karate guys. Now at this time, a lot of these guys were doing the first K1s, and they were crossing over and getting stuff from Thais like Nortwit Davey. These are guys that were the first Thais to come out of the country, fight foreigners, and show. Like, this was K1 days with just the hand wrapped on, right? In the early days. So, and this is a guy who's small. Nortwit was really small. I mean, this guy's maybe 70, right? And he's fighting heavyweights, and he's defeating them. So a lot of these guys started to adopt some of the Thai boxing stuff, but it really come from the karate, the fighting karate stuff.
Really?
And that's where my base was at, a lot of it. So when I seen these guys come over, and Tommy, I have to give him a lot of respect because he was a coach for me that really took the stuff that I knew and showed me what worked in a real fight and what didn't. This guy was a wild man.
What was his name? Tommy
Mossman.
Tommy Mossman.
Out of Camp Lejeune, and he lived, and he had a barn, and it had holes in the walls and makawaris up the drive.
Jeez.
And Dennis, I'm sure he's listening to this. Much respect, Sensei. Dennis the Hurricane Lane. And he was one of the first guys that fought Dennis Alexio and these guys. But I trained with one of his main coaches, and Dennis wasn't around much. I met him briefly, but he went off to train with Sugar Ray at Leonard's gym, and he was getting pulled over in the first K1s. You know, some of his friends would be Hoost and
so this is what, early 90s?
Maurice Smith, yeah, 90s. So, you know, and then I started to see the Thai mixture, you know, with those guys. There would be guys in and out that had that style, and I thought, wow, but it wasn't clinching, not much clinching at all. I wasn't exposed to until I was overseas. Even when I had the first gym in Toledo, I think I opened at 23 years old, way too young, but it was more of a way to pull in guys that I could work with to get ready for my own fights.
Hey, tell me about that. Tell me about that spot. Tell me the business side of that. Like, what was all the business stuff to make that happen?
Very little. I got out of the Marine Corps. I said, you know what? I drove out of Lejeune, and I said, I'm never taking another order from someone again.
I said the same thing.
I said
the same thing. and then here I am, and then I go and get a job like 7 years later. But okay, so you stayed with the dream. Okay,
I did.
Good.
And I'm not saying I didn't do things that I had to do for short periods of time and work odd and end jobs and do what I had to do. But I mean, I was doing construction all morning, and I'd come get off, you know, stick framing houses and stuff. And then I'd open the gym, and we'd run 3-hour hardcore sessions. And I was at a totally different space as far as how I approached, you know, coming from Tommy, his method, all conditioning of the bones, boning and shin conditioning, makawari work, leg tapering, no shin pads. We didn't have the instep pads and stuff. If you had one of those sock guards, you know, that was...
You were doing pretty good.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. So...
Which those don't really do
They don't
much.
do anything. It just separates the pain more, you know? Now it hurts everywhere. So we were in there, and we would run... It was very similar like MMA, because we would play around with wrestling and judo and all that as well. But the first hour was usually just get up and go, and it was a lot of conditioning, but fight conditioning, meaning like we're still hitting each other and tapering the legs and shinning. And then we'd go into like a kickboxing. I wouldn't say it was classical Muay Thai at the time, because I lacked the knowledge in the clinch work. I had basic clinch work. So, but I understood the leg kicks, the putting the punches and kicks together, the elbows.
Right, combinations. No elbow. Oh, so you did use elbows?
Yes, but not all the variations. It was very limited to basic elbow striking.
What did the gym look like? Was it a gym, or did you?
They didn't have mats then, bro. I called Benny the Jet's place to get a long bag, a banana bag, because there was no... Aries was a company out of Jersey, I think, that sent me the first banana bag, they called it, right? The long bag. So I had that in there, and I had golf green indoor carpeting, because I tried to find something that would have a little soft, right? And that just tore your feet off. So the guys had duct tape around their feet. I mean, it was that bad that these guys would show up and duct tape their feet and rot jog for 3 minutes in one direction, 3 in the other, go through endless amounts of line drills. And
sounds like you guys were training in Moscow, Ohio.
There was no...
Did Fedor come over there and help you out?
There was no gym.
Jeez Louise.
That, you know, we were definitely the black seed, or whatever you want to call it.
That's hardcore though, man. You can look back at that and go, yeah, we were hardcore,
I
man.
do. I look at it different ways. You know, I've grown a lot in the way of training a little bit smarter and preserving your body, because I really think longevity is the key. And to be a real, true martial artist, to be good at this stuff, it's not about like taking shots. That's entertainment. That's a huge value for entertainment. But a real good pugilist or a fighter, he hits you, he doesn't get hit. Even in a martial art like Muay Thai, you know, it appears to be right up face to face. but it's very technical. They understand how to absorb that energy by just moving subtly and trapping and catching and sweeping. And
Yeah, when you guys taught me before that, I was in traditional martial arts, Chinese martial arts for the most part, Shotokan too, and I would take kicks as hard as you can, right? And yeah, we would do that stuff. But when it came down to actually you guys training me for a fight, you said, no, step away from the major impact zone of the kick, with a half moon or something.
Yeah.
So that, they threw the kick, but there was no power in it. You took it, and now you grab the kick, and now you're raining all kinds of hell on them.
You're in range. You're within range. But what gave Scott and I think, a different, or especially Scott and the guys that came through my place, that hard, crazy conditioning it's hard to do that. You want to keep the body right. You want to get these guys. You don't want to have them injured for fights. But we were never healthy for fights, really. If we were fighting, we were always damaged. I mean, I think anybody that's really training at that level, and we had fights in the gym a lot. Now, I don't agree with that, but I was younger.
Smokers?
No. I mean, we start to go, and it's, hey, let's go 30%. And then this
100% immediately.
And then nobody steps in, though. It's like, we're going to sort that out. Let them sort that out.
Right.
And now where I would probably jump in and control that environment a lot more to save everybody a lot of, but that gave us, or these guys, an edge, a toughness that I don't see when things get really hard for a fighter.
Right.
Not just, physically, I'm tired, but like pain. Right. And these other things that you can develop in a military setting, or if you're fortunate enough to go out and you go on that 29-mile death march and you check out 100 times, but if you don't make it, everybody's gonna just harass the hell out of you, and you're not gonna get a weekend off. So there's all these consequences, and you just build these, like, you keep going over these mountains. And these guys went over so many mountains in the gym night after night.
The fight was nothing.
The fight was just, we enjoyed turning up at one of these little bars or wherever they were hosting these shows at the time, including myself in a warehouse or wherever it may be.
Sorry, I did it again.
And looking over at the team that we're going to, it was very different. Now it's a very humble approach. I look at boxing and fighting different than I did then. But these guys went through wars. Hundreds and hundreds of rounds of, breaking fingers and knuckles and noses. And
who's the craziest? Do you remember?
Oh man, I'd have to say, it depends on what you're looking at as far as crazy. But Scott was up there with the top three. This guy walked in the door and wanted to glove up,
Yeah, I believe it.
He wanted to glove up. And
besides Scott,
I was getting ready for a fight. I had some hard workers, but crazy. A lot of the crazy guys didn't stick long.
Really?
They went through this phase, and I think they were empowered by it, and they would somehow, life would take them out of martial arts.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know what that is.
Nah, a lot of these guys jumping off. Hey, Chris, it was great to see him on there.
Okay, there we go.
We trained hard back then, but the thing was that the bar was the Shamrocks. You know what I mean? And schools like that, you don't know what you know today. So you thought that you had to go emulate.
Shamrocks like Ken Shamrock?
Yeah, I mean, you trained, move that rock, punch each other in the face. That was what you knew about fighting at that point.